Welcome to TLC, where we dive into the heart of our local community, its wineries, restaurants, business, and real estate. I'm your host, Troy Anderson, along with my co-host, Pamela. And we're here to bring you a new perspective on what's happening in our community. This week, we also have special guests on the show, Kim and Larry Harris, owners of Bayernmoor Cellars, right here in Woodinville. Welcome to the tasting rooms in Woodinville, for sure. Welcome to the show, you guys.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you. I'm
excited. This will be cool.
I'm so glad you're here.
All right, we're going to just jump in with our first segment. We've not only do we have special guests in studio, but they've brought something special for us to try too. So this is our Sipping on Success segment, and we're going to try some of their wine. So Troy, tell us what you're opening, and then Kim and Larry can tell us a little bit more about it.
I didn't even look at it. It's a Pinot Noir Reserve 2019. I don't want to break the cork, so there we go. We did it.
I don't have to insert a pop there. You did a good job.
No, good pop, right? We got some good sound going. Oh, some nice light color, which is typical of a Pinot Noir.
See, Troy knows a little bit about wine.
Oops.
I don't.
And
Well, the most important part is just enjoying it and having
exactly.
enjoying the wine.
Exactly. He is dripping it all over the table.
I know, that's wine foul.
All right. So as Troy said, it does have a little bit of a light hue to it. That's typical for a Pinot?
It is. So, especially, this is what's kind of cool about this is actually from our estate vineyard, which is, 45 minutes north of Woodinville, so west side of the mountains, Pinot Noir.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so this is one of the wines that kind of helps set us apart from the rest of the pack, Western Washington Pinot. But so being a very colder climate, Pinot Noir itself is usually kind of a lighter colored body wine, lighter wine. And being West Coast, it's even a little bit lighter because the alcohol is a little bit lower. It's just in my view, like a fantastic traditional Burgundian style Pinot.
Right.
Burgundian.
Now, I don't know if we've had a Pinot on the show
No,
before.
I don't think we have.
Okay, and so I'm having a really good, putting my nose in, twirling it around like you're supposed to, pretending I know what I'm doing. And what I find fascinating is there's some aromas in there that I've actually not experienced from a wine before. I don't know if I'm supposed to be smelling a little bit of licorice, but I am.
A little bit of licorice, huh?
A little bit of licorice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No?
Oh, no.
I don't think there's any right or wrong way to taste or smell. I mean, I think it really depends on really your own personal memories and senses in terms of what you're picking up in the wine.
Yeah. What I also appreciate is when, you take a really good deep inhale of that, you don't get that alcohol
Right.
catch at the back of your throat on this one. I've done that before with wine. It's like, oh wow, this one has a softness to it when you do that, when you take that really good inhale in. So Troy, what are you smelling? What are you tasting? And then we'll tell the experts that made the wine.
I smell
can tell
some
us.
fennel, yes, which is a licorice type
Yeah.
smell. And I smell, I don't even know how to describe, maybe a little citrus note to it as well. Maybe that's the acidity, I don't know.
Get a little bit of peach smell from that too.
I get a little peach, I get a little raspberry. It's kind of a pretty complex wine, and at the same time, it has some of those kind of earthy characteristics you get out of some of the traditional Pinots.
Yeah.
Which is what I personally love in my Pinots is a little bit of earthiness, or some people refer to like a touch of funk.
A touch of funk, I like it.
Oh, my daughter
a
would
true
say,
French wine.
I can taste the vine in the wine.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
No, this is good. It's interesting because we all pick up something really different, like you were saying. There's no right or wrong answer to it, but it does have some surprising kind of aroma to it, which is, I don't really know what I was expecting, but it's lovely. Now I'm going to stop talking and try it, and you can describe
try it, Pamela. I think it's lovely too, and I'm not a huge Pinot fan. Everyone likes different wines, and Pinot I generally like a little bit more robust, but this is really good. It's got a great finish on it. It's dry, and it's what's the word?
I don't know, Troy. I can't pick the words
It's
out
more
of your head
tannic.
for you.
It's more tannic than
a lot of Pinots.
a lot of Pinots. Yeah.
And to me, it's
Is
got
that on purpose?
It's got a little bit of that kind of mineral earthy
Yeah,
finish to it.
For sure. For sure. I like it.
Get on the after you've kind of swallowed the wine, that taste lingers, but it evolves in your mouth. So I tasted peach at the start of it, but the finish was actually strawberries for me, which like really intense strawberry flavor. Is that typical?
Yeah, especially for this wine. And that's what I like about Pinots is you get so many different complex flavors. You get so many complex notes. To me, the big ones that stand out are raspberries and strawberries.
Okay.
From beginning to end for me.
I don't think I've had a wine where the strawberry has been quite so intense on the finish, or even at all. I mean, like you say, all wines are complex. They all have variations of what you're tasting, the fruits, whether they're jammy with plums and whatnot. But this has this really nut light. Has a summery feel to this one. I think you can pair it really well with some heavier meats, but I like the lightness and the freshness of it.
Nice charcuterie board.
Oh yeah. Every time we do this show, I end up walking away feeling really hungry.
I know. When are we going to have one on the show?
I don't know. We'll figure that out. But this is delicious. So this was the 2019.
Yes.
Okay, and that's the reserve. Well, do I need to do any more? Can I just sit and drink this? Don't have to go back to work?
No, we don't need to work today.
Well, that's fantastic. Are we going to open? No, you brought 2 bottles for us to try. Should we try the second one after the break, or do you want to come do it now?
Let's do it now.
Okay, all right then. Well, let's pass this over.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about this one. Kim, Larry.
I believe Larry brought it.
She doesn't even know what it is. Cabernet 2019 Red Mountain Clipson Vineyard, which I heard is a good one.
It is. It's actually a beautiful vineyard.
Okay.
They're exceptionally well known for providing outstanding fruit, which is one of the reasons we work with them. Because the fruit consistently year over year is just amazing. And I love this cab. I really like that it's rich. It's got a fantastic nose, lovely mouthfeel, beautiful tasting notes. And I like that it's a smooth wine. I mean, for me, like you were saying earlier, you don't get that alcohol burn. And that's on purpose because I actually don't like that either. So when we are making our wines, we really want our wines to be well balanced. If that makes sense.
No, that makes sense.
And I don't want the alcohol to be the primary characteristic that you're experiencing.
That should be the footnote of it. Everything else should be the kind of the meat of the story of the wine, right? So
exactly.
I mean, a wine, when you put it does kind of tell a story if you want to do it in poetic terms, right? There's what you smell, there's what's on the tip of your tongue, what floats over your tongue. There's just all this information that comes from that. What I'm seeing here, I'm looking at Troy's glasses side by side, and the difference in
Very
color.
dark.
Very dark. And I'm expecting, I haven't tried it or smelt it yet, but I'm expecting something very jammy. So we'll see. All right. So tell us a little bit more about this one before we taste it.
I'd say this one's cool. It's 100% cab, so it doesn't have anything in it. Other
No blending grapes?
No blended grapes, no row in it, pure cab. And as Kim said, it's Clipson's considered one of the top Cabernet vineyards in the world. I think Wine and Spirits rated as one of the top 25 cab vineyards in the world. And this is actually from some of the oldest vines out of that vineyard. So it's part of it's from the oldest vines in that vineyard, and another part of it's from vines that are like 10 or 15 years old. So you get some of those earthy notes with some more of the fruit forward characteristics.
It is. It's got some terroir to it. I like it.
I just learned that word in the last couple of weeks.
Did you?
Yeah, I had to look it up. I didn't know what it meant. You want to explain what it means?
I don't know. I'm not sure I have a clear definition, but it means like soil and
Yeah.
I think everybody has a little different definition. To me, I mean, terroir is it's sense of place, right?
Right.
Oh,
It's
okay.
providing some characteristics of where it's from. And so this vineyard being off of Red Mountain, there's characteristics of this that are very kind of you would expect to taste from a true Red Mountain cab. And it's just, I love it. It's fantastic. And one of the reasons we brought this one is because this one and the Pinot, they're kind of the two different ends of the red wine spectrum.
Right.
A very light-bodied, lighter color wine versus a cab that's,
And then it's really dark.
darker
hue
hue on the color and everything.
So,
and it doesn't have that huge overtone of alcohol.
No. Nor is it super tannic.
No, it's not super tannic.
I want to be able to taste the wine. I want to smell the fruit. I want to taste it in my mouth. I don't want it to be overpowered by alcohol.
Yeah.
And of course, that's Larry's magic, not only in when to pick the grapes.
I was going to
but
say, does
also
that have
in
to
the
do with
winery.
the bricks level of when you pick?
Yeah, so picking at the bricks level and when all the fruit characteristics and the phenolics are there is, we spend a lot of time going east right around the harvest season to figure out when is the best time to pick, because I don't like our wines to be over alcohol. I don't like our wines to be overly tannic.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I think we put enough oak on the new French oak on the wines that you can taste the oak and you can smell the oak, but it's not overpowering. We're buying the best fruit in Washington State. Why would I hide it?
Right.
For me, like flavor profile wise, I taste a little cherry. You know, there's a definite kind of on the sides of the even talking about it, I'm kind of salivating a little bit, but I can taste that cherry. There's definitely some other dark fruits in there. I don't know if it's a bit of blackberry that I'm tasting or a little bit of plum. But yeah, I mean, a cab is usually what I go for in our house, and this is delicious.
It is.
Yeah. It's good. The colour's good. I'm looking at the legs running down the side of the glass too.
The viscosity.
The viscosity, I know. Like, do I call it legs? Do I call it viscosity? But this is delightful. Yeah, I could quite happily sit here and drink a few glasses of this and really enjoy it with whether that's a really hearty meal or even, again, cheese. It's very kind of, you know,
cheese and meat.
Cheese and crackers and whatnot. But yeah, that's phenomenal. Thank you. Really good.
Yeah, it's very special. We get to taste two.
I know.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know. That's.
Well, we like sharing our wines with people, so when you said bring one, we decided to bring two.
Wow,
I
great.
appreciate
Thank
that.
you.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. I'm like, I don't know which one to
Give us
pick.
something different.
It's like, can I, you know, I don't want to say double hand.
Don't mix them.
No, I'm not going to. No, I'm not that much of a barbarian.
I don't know if I've ever had a Pinot Cab blend.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just like,
Probably
I'm
not.
fascinated by the hue differential on these.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I think what we're going to do is take a really quick break, and when we come back, we are going to talk with Kim and Larry in more detail, more about Bayernmoor, their winery, and how they got started. But stay tuned. We'll be right back after this very short break.
See you in a minute. This episode of Tend Life Community is brought to you in part by Yura Family Dentistry. Are you ready to sell your home but not sure where to start? Feel like your home may need a few updates to get ready for the market, but you're not ready to take on that project? At 10 Home Team, we have a solution for that. Our pre-listing home renovation program is designed to take the hassle out of preparing your home for the market. Need a fresh coat of paint, new carpets, maybe even a new roof? We've got you covered, all at no upfront cost to you. That's right, we pay for those things upfront and then just get paid at closing. With our total concierge services, your selling experience is elevated to first-class status. Let us handle the updates and renovation while you sit back and relax. Because when you choose Tend Home Team, you're choosing excellence. Get your home ready for market with ease. Contact us today, 206-504-3660, for a no-obligation consultation. That's 206-504-3660. Tend Home Team in Troy Anderson, where selling your home is a seamless experience from the start to sold. Welcome back to TLC Tend Life Community Podcast. We are here with Kim and Larry with Bayernmoor. Good Lord, Troy.
You've only had a sip of wine.
I don't know what's the matter with me, but yeah, my tongue gets in the way, I guess.
Okay, it's easy for you to say.
Kim and Larry with Bayernmoor.
Bayernmoor.
We're going to have to edit this all out. This is embarrassing.
We'll just have them say it, and then
Yes, please say it.
Bayernmoor.
Bayernmoor.
There you go, everybody.
Yeah. It's going to make it memorable.
Yes.
No one's going to forget the name.
They shouldn't, especially if they taste the wine.
I know, right?
All
Right.
Let's dive in.
So, yeah, you guys were named the 2024 Washington State Winery of the Year by Great Northwest Wine. That's a prestigious recognition. How will that... I think that's great. How's that going to impact your business, you think, and bringing people to tasting room and stuff like that? I mean, you've got fantastic wine.
We do.
Yeah, so I'm not surprised that you would win Winery of the Year.
And this is new, right? This is very recent that this has happened.
Yes, it was just released, I believe,
A couple
of weeks ago.
So the
Okay,
magazine
cool.
with the full article and everything actually hadn't even been released yet.
Yeah.
It was just a quick announcement they made of, here's the Washington State Wine of the Year.
Yeah. So that
That's
comes
awesome.
out soon, in a couple weeks, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, because I remember when we were talking about coming on the show, you're like, wait till Friday, I might have some news. And she does. She has news. So how's that going to impact your business moving forward? And, has it impacted already? Is it going to, how is it going to impact the growth of your winery?
Well, we hope positively in the sense that we're excited about what we do. We're excited about our wines. We're excited about making wine here in the Puget Sound AVA, which there's just not very many of us. And so we're really hoping to get the word out, really, that you can make fantastic wine both on the west side and on the east side of the mountains, that you can have amazing wine coming out right out of the Puget Sound. I think we are the only winery in Woodinville that actually has an estate vineyard in the Puget Sound AVA. So we're really excited about what we're doing and the wines we're making. When we talk about the Platinum Awards, which was part of the Great Northwest wine, you know, we ended up with 9 Platinum Awards. 2 of them were double platinum, 7 of them were platinum. And out of those 9, 5 of them came out of our estate vineyard here in the Puget Sound. So we're really excited about the recognition that our wine is getting.
Yeah.
That's great.
I think timing wise, it couldn't be better. You know, we spent the past, I guess a little over a decade establishing our vineyard and producing our, getting the fruit of our vineyard where we wanted it to be, and really the past 2.5 years getting our Woodinville tasting room up and running.
Yeah.
And so this year, even before we found out, like, hey, we're going to spend a lot of energy on, getting our name out and marketing and kind of getting that out. So timing wise, to kind of put those into as kind of fuel for the fire is just it's perfect for us.
Yeah.
That's cool for you guys.
To it gives us a lot more to talk about, which is great.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah,
That's
amazing.
awesome.
I don't think we've had anybody on the show that's been awarded.
No. Winery of the Year.
I know.
Yeah.
I feel very privileged to have you guys on the show. That's fantastic.
So I'm sure you guys have a unique story. Can you share with us kind of, what inspired the venture and starting roots, and then maybe the premise behind the name that I can't say?
I'm going to rip him all afternoon about this one.
Well, I think it starts quite a bit ago. Larry and I fell in love with wine when we were in the Bay Area. We went to law school together at Santa Clara. And when we graduated, of course, we were young. We had time, no children, disposable income, and we would spend our free time going to Napa and Sonoma and trying wine and just getting really excited about it. And of course, as time goes on, we moved up here. My family's all from here, and had our 2 girls. And then we had a lot of conversations about what are we going to do with the property that my parents owned. We have over 100 acres in Stanwood where the vineyard is. And so we had a lot of conversations. What are we going to do with 100 acres when my parents want to retire? And we really felt strongly about keeping the property in the family, moving it forward, having that opportunity be there for next generations. And the only way we can envision doing that would be to have the property actually produce something, help be sustainable in and of itself in terms of taking care of itself, the maintenance, and just having a purpose. We talked for a long time about what are we going to do with it, and let's face it, wheat and corn, they're delicious, but really boring. And so
I would agree. Not as sexy as wine.
Right?
Yeah.
And
we're glad the cows are across the street and you can't smell them.
Yes, yes. And so we thought, why not wine? I mean, Washington City is only second to California in terms of production. And so we spent several years working with WSU to make sure that we had the right soil and the right heat units to get it ripe. I mean, we all know you can grow amazing things here in Washington State, but whether or not you can get it ripe is a totally different question. I have yet to get any tomatoes ripe, the beefsteak ones. I get the cherry tomatoes ripe. I cannot get the beefsteak tomatoes
She can do grapes, but not tomatoes.
Right? I can.
I love that.
Tomato.
And so, so it turns out that our site where we are is absolutely perfect for Pinot Noir. We have south-facing slope. Our property starts at about 500 feet elevation and goes up from there.
Oh, wow.
So we're above that marine fog layer that hits and sits on the coastline. So we end up with sun all day long, even in the summer.
I was going to say, where are you at in Stanwood?
We're on the east side of the freeway.
East side of
I-5.
that
So
makes
we're
sense.
in the foothills.
Yeah. And I think that, going to the question on the name, like I said, so Kim and I moved up to Kim's parents' property that they owned. Geez, it's been over a decade now.
Yeah.
And when we started working WSU, planted the vineyard, finally established the winery, her parents had actually named the property back in the early 80s when they bought it Bayernmoor.
Because
her dad has German roots.
Okay.
And so, and I always get these backwards. Baron is forest, roughly
It's in a reference to Bavaria,
Right.
which is part of Germany. The forests woods, and half the property is still in forest.
In forest, and then the other half more is Dutch. Her mom actually immigrated from Holland, so it's and I think Dutch is the fields, the moorlands, right?
There's lots of moorlands in Holland.
And so
It's very flat.
it was a name they created, and so when we established the vineyard and the winery, it's like, why not pay tribute to them and just carry the name forward?
Yeah, I like that.
So it's kind of that family history of the whole reason we're doing this to begin with.
That's cool.
So continuation of how it started and its progression.
Right.
So keep that name. I like it. So Bayernmoor.
It's also a whole lot more interesting on a bottle than my last name, which is Harris.
There's a lot of Harrises.
Right?
Yes.
I'd rather drink a Bayernmoor wine than a Harris wine.
I do. It sounds very prestigious.
Yes, Bayernmoor.
Yes, it's like it's got body to it. I like it.
And is this a picture of the estate?
It is.
Cool.
Yeah.
And that on all of the wines,
Yeah.
you do that.
So that's our main logo
great.
on all of our bottles.
I love that. So connecting every step of the way from.
Is
the
there
land.
a tasting room up there, or is it by appointment only? Or
We do have a winery production facility up there.
Okay.
And we do lots of activities up there for our wine club members.
Okay.
So they come up and they get to do private tours and tastings. We do that every quarter, essentially, for our wine club members to come up. And we haven't opened it up to the public,
Okay.
mostly because it's a working farm and we live there.
Mm-hmm.
And I have 2 teenage daughters.
get out of my house.
We love having people over. It's a lot of fun to entertain. We love sharing what we do. But, like I said, we have 100 acres, so I don't want to have to chase people down in the woods
Yeah.
if they wander off.
Yeah,
that
makes
makes
sense.
sense,
And
yeah.
Woodinville's more convenient for the masses. But, one of the things that Western Washington is, we've got all these tasting rooms, but we don't have the experience like Napa. So I don't know.
And that's a big draw for our club members.
Yeah,
It's
for sure,
Hey, I want to
for
come
sure.
see the vineyard and do it, and we do the tours and tastings. It's kind of cool to get a glass of Pinot Noir and walk through the vineyard
Yeah.
where it was actually grown,
Yeah,
and
that is
produced
cool.
and bottled and everything.
So if you're listening to this and you want that whole experience,
Come to the tasting room in Woodinville.
Yep,
Sign
and
up for
then-
the wine club.
exactly.
And it's 45 minutes
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
So you can really go up and enjoy an afternoon, taste wine, have an amazing experience,
Yeah.
and still go home. And it's not a 4-hour drive each way.
Yeah, sounds perfect to me. All right, let's talk about your wines just a little bit more. We've had the pleasure of tasting a couple of them, but you guys have a diverse range of wines. It's not just the 2 that you very kindly brought in for us today. Everything from the Pinot Noir to, and I'm going to butcher this one, Albarino? Is that how you pronounce it? Okay, which is a white wine?
It is.
Okay, all right, so I did a little research, okay. And each of them are sourced from, top vineyards in Washington. You have your own, and then I'm assuming you'll bring some grapes in from elsewhere. But can you share with us your philosophy behind your winemaking approach? You don't have to tell us the secret sauce, but just kind of, what is it you're trying to achieve with each bottle? How do you come about this? And how do you strive to convey the true expression of each variation of grape in the bottle? And the word that we used earlier, terroir in each bottle.
So I think when Kim and I went down this venture of doing this, and this whole adventure we're on is something that we want to do, right? It's not something we have to. We're just enjoying doing it. And when we committed to it, it's like, if we're going to do this, we're not cutting any corners. And everything we're going to do is we're going to do it the absolute best we can do it. And that goes from partnering with WSU or partnering with Brian Carter, who's my mentor from the beginning, has been making wine here for probably close to 50 years. And the vineyards we source from, everything we've started with has been the best you can find in Washington State. And that's kind of carrying that philosophy. Is when we committed to it, is like, if it's going to go on our bottle, I've got to be able to stand it, or Kim's got to be able to stand behind the bottle and go, this is a fantastic wine.
Yeah.
And then we work backward from there, and that's kind of that's our driving philosophy on every decision we make. And so the vineyards, like I said, the vineyards we source from, Clipson Vineyards, Celilo, is to get that fruit that's the best there is, and honestly, it makes the wine production side a whole lot easier. Philosophy-wise, I take a very hands-off approach. We don't even, we let native fermentation occur, so we don't inoculate our wines. We let them all ferment natively, and we only make adjustments to make the wine nice and balanced. And all the adjustments we make will be using natural additives, whether it be acid or tannins or something like that, just to kind of get things in balance for bottling. But it's a really hands-off approach. So we don't do any other additives. It's all about when you pick the fruit and how you process it and how you treat it and what you barrel age it in. So that goes to everything we do on how we do all of our different wines, on how we decide which varieties to produce. It kind of comes down to what Kim and I want to produce, what our club members are telling us they're interested in seeing. And at the end of the day, just making sure everybody's having fun with the wine as opposed to it being some pretentious,
Right.
old, boring, stuffy thing.
Right. Yeah.
Sounds very artistic. I like your approach.
It's
Just
a very
letting
kind of
it
it's a
naturally
fun blend
do its
between
thing and-
my extremely nerdy side and,
Yeah.
and a little bit of art going in with it.
Now, this may sound, for people listening, this might sound like a silly question, but are you the winemaker? Now, we've had, it doesn't always go hand in hand that you own a winery and you actually make the wine, but are you the winemaker?
Yeah, so I'm the
Love that.
winemaker. Like I said, I spent several years working with Brian Carter. He's still a consultant of mine, to learn from some of the best there is, right? And he's very old school kind of process of hands off. So he's taught me a lot. I've also done a lot of additional education and training on my own, and through UC Davis and through WSU and just about anything else I could get a hold of over the past couple of decades. But to say I'm the winemaker, but one of the cool things is I'm doing this with my wife Kim, and she's heavily involved as well. And we're doing our final blendings and our final adjustments. She has input, and we decide together how we're going to make the wine and what the final look's going to like. The reserve that we tasted, it truly is a reserve. We actually go through independently and taste through every single barrel of Pinot Noir we have
And pick the best.
and pick out our favorite three.
Sounds like a terrible job.
It's a horrible, and it takes all day.
And we don't talk either, because I don't want
Really?
what his ideas are to influence
Oh.
what mine are. And
Right.
so, I mean, we don't talk about the wine, we talk about other things. But really, it's kind of a serious day of sitting down and tasting through all the wine.
Sounds serious. How do I get involved with that?
Right?
But it's kind of cool. The first year we did it, and we did it with Brian the first year, and we tasted through all these barrels. It was 30 or 40 barrels with the instructions to pick out your favorite 5.
Okay.
And we all did it independent. And every year we've done this since, all of us have picked 3 of the same 5 barrels.
Okay.
And that's how we kind of
That's
pick.
cool.
That's our reserve. And it's like,
Yeah.
that's whatever it is, there's something special about those 3 when you have 3 or 4 people independently picking the same ones.
Yeah, I love that. I'm having, tasting while you guys are talking, and there's a playfulness about this wine. I don't know if that's the right way to say
Playful.
it.
I like
There
it.
is, there's a playfulness
It's
about it.
got me change my mind about Pinot Noir, because that Pinot Noir is good.
That's something, because you're quite.
I know, I'm like in-
Sometimes Troy can be a little rigid when it comes to wine. Well, I like this, and I'm like, well, try something different. So
Yeah.
this is delicious. All right, so that's your philosophy behind it.
Do you have any? I mean, being a Washington AVA, a Puget Sound AVA Pinot Noir, is there anything else you grow over here? Is there any other varietals on this side, on the west side?
We don't grow any other varietals. We have just Pinot Noir.
Okay.
We have 2 different clones of Pinot Noir on our estate vineyard. We have Precoce and 777. We'll be expanding our vineyard in the next few years, and I think Larry has definite ideas about which clones he'd like to plant next to add and enhance and kind of round out some of the options we have with blending.
I think that's one of the cool things about Pinot Noir. She's talking about clones. Pinot Noir is one of the few grape varieties. Like there's literally thousands of different clones, and if you know what I mean with clones, it's think about roses, right? You have white roses and yellow roses and red roses. They're all they're different mutations, different variety of roses, but they're all still roses. Same thing with clones of Pinot Noir. And what's cool about them is, unlike most other wines, each clone has very distinct flavor profiles on when it ripens and how tannic it is and what aromas it puts off. And so you can kind of get these huge spectrums, which gives you the ability to some extent blend Pinots or make a blend, but it's all still Pinot Noir because you're blending different clones. And so we actually
Gotcha.
source some from other vineyards when we do our not just an estate Pinot Noir like you have here, but we also have some we source from Celilo Vineyard down in the gorge, which is different clones. Completely different Pinot Noir, still fantastic, totally different than our estate vineyards.
That's cool. Is there a signature, not blend, but varietal that you guys are known for? Is it Pinot Noir?
It's Pinot Noir,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
And that's what makes us different, especially in Washington State.
Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, when I think of Pinot, it's always Oregon.
right.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that. Oh, okay, all right. Are there any new releases you want to tell us about before we dive in another direction?
We
keeping it
just
under-
released
under wraps.
in March our 21 Chardonnay. So our new Chard came out, which is absolutely delicious. And we also released our 21 Washington State. So we were talking about the two different Pinot Noirs. So our 21 Pinot Noir Washington State is a blend of grapes from our estate vineyard, as well as from Celilo Vineyard. So that's a really fun adventure for us, really, is when we're trying to decide what our blend is going to be. And we haven't done a Washington State blend since 2017. So the
Okay.
21 is the first time we've done it in a while. And it is because together those two vineyards really are quite magical, and it's fun to experience wine solely from our estate vineyard, wine solely from Celilo Vineyard, and then a combination of the two, and it's really lovely.
Different
But
flavor profiles.
still all Pinot Noir.
Yeah.
Different flavor profiles in each.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
But I think on your question, other things that are coming, we did one of our 2 bottlings we do every year was a couple weeks ago, and so for the first time we have bottled a Malbec. That'll be released in September to our club members.
I'm excited about that because we don't get many of those here.
There's not many of those here, and we also have that we'll be bottling in July a Merlot. And so we'll have a Merlot coming out sometime next year.
And those are new?
Those are new. We've never released them before.
Oh, wow.
Those were the first time we produced. We obtained the fruit was in 2022.
Okay.
And so after aging them in barrel for 14 and 20 months respectively,
Yeah.
they're finally getting bottled and finally getting to come
Released.
out.
Yeah.
And I'm excited
Fun.
about it. They're
That's
both
fun.
fantastic.
I can tell by your face. You're beaming.
And we'll also be releasing in the fall. We'll do a special release that's only available to Wine Club. Our 2022, thank you, 2022 Blanc de Pinot Noir. So it's actually a sparkling, done in the traditional method, made from our estate grapes. And we've only done it once before. And we've done it again because it was so popular with our wine club that we made some more in 22.
Yeah. But it never
Club
gets
only?
it never gets beyond our club. It's always gone because it's fantastic.
Gonna have
There
to
you go.
join.
Add it to the list of them.
I know.
Wow. Well, I mean, what that says to me is anybody that hasn't been into the tasting room yet, get yourself down there and keep going back because there's lots of new, exciting things
That's fun.
coming. Yeah.
We're having a lot of fun. We're doing a lot of different things.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, you touched on this a little bit earlier on the sustainability at the farm. Excuse me. And it definitely sounds like sustainability is the core value of Bayernmoor Cellars, and it's evident in your commitment. Obviously I've done a little bit of research before you came in, your organic practices, your mindful farming, but can you tell us some more specifics about sustainable initiatives you've implemented in the vineyard and your winemaking process, and how these practices shape the identity of your wines?
Well, I think a lot of it goes back to we kind of view our role at our estate is we're stewards of the land, right? And we live there, and our kids are there. And so a lot of thought goes into how we take care of the land. I want it to stay around for a long time. So on the sustainable side, we're actually in the process right now of becoming a Washington certified sustainable vineyard, which is a new program